Hey there, welcome. I'm excited to be able to share this with you and reach out and connect. I wish it was a two-way street and I have the camera and I could see your face, but anyway, I'm still glad and delighted to be here to be able to share with you my thoughts on and my experience on what's happening in the hospitality industry. I am on a mission to talk to every single food and beverage business owner that I can get my hands on or my ears to, get to their ears and my voice to talk about the new hospitality model. Because the pandemic fundamentally kicked that model to the curb. Finally, it had cobwebs on it. It was held together with duct tape and baling wire. It wasn't working anymore. And it didn't make sense. And there were a lot of unnecessarily frustrated people in the hospitality industry. And by no stretch of the imagination do I mean to say that it's easy. But I don't think that it has to be miserable. And you certainly don't have to be financially devastated. You can earn a living in this industry, and it can work. You don't have to work all the time and be broke all the time or wonder about it. So in case we haven't met, hi, my name is Deacon Williams. I am delighted to meet you, and I would love to have a conversation with you about your business, because I believe in empowering the hospitality industry and food business entrepreneurs, food and beverage business entrepreneurs, with the tools that you need to succeed. If you aren't succeeding, there is a very, very, very good chance that it's simply about that you don't have the tools that you need, rather than you're doing a bad job at being a business owner. Period. End of sentence. I've seen it over and over again. People simply don't have the tools they need. I'm a classically trained chef, and I spent 25 years in the hospitality industry, or not in the hospitality industry, 25 years in fine dining kitchens. And then now for the last 14, 11, something like that, exclusively as a consultant. I'm a classically, certifiably trained, right? And I knew nothing about how to run a business when I suddenly found myself at the helm of a fine dining restaurant at the age of 24. I was responsible for leadership and human resources and all kinds of stuff, profitability, and I had no idea what I was doing. I could cook, I could slice and dice, I could run an 18-burner saute station on a Saturday night, but I didn't know the first thing about a successful business. So chances are you know a lot more than I did at the time, and you're still doing a great job. But I want to offer you a couple of tools. So today I want to talk to you about the new model, how the new model works. The old model didn't work. It was basically a third of your cost would go to overhead, a third to food and ingredients, and a third to staff, and you would have 10% profit left over after that. And what happened is that model didn't work anymore, and it kept getting squeezed out. And so the profit margin got smaller and smaller. That wasn't so much the problem. I don't really care if you have a 2% profit margin or a 20% profit margin, because the percentage only matters in relation to yourself. So there's some cases where a 2% profit margin would be great. And in other cases where 20% is not enough. It depends on what it is. Percentages are about relationships and relationships to yourself. So relationships to your own business, they're really important because they tell us stuff that dollars and cents can't tell us. But comparing percentages with another business or at another time makes absolutely no sense. So don't worry about if your percentage is higher or lower or what you think somebody else should be doing, because it simply doesn't matter. Percentages only matter internally in relation to yourself. I hear people saying it's the industry norm, or this is how it should happen. Industry norms are great, but we don't actually see what other people are doing. So we don't know if they're talking or if it's true. And we don't know what their other percentages are, right? Like other people have a food cost percentage or a cost of goods sold percentage. It's like, oh, mine's only 28. That's awesome. What are your other ones? Because it still doesn't tell me anything about profitability, right? And a 20% profitability on a restaurant that has done $100 in sales in the last week, you made $20 in the last week. Like, it's just not that big of a deal. So grocery stores have a 2 to 3% profit margin if they're lucky. But they have a bajillion dollars in sales, so they have like 3% of a bajillion in profit, which is a lot of money. goes out the door. So the old hospitality industry, model of 30, 30, 30, 10 is out the door. Labor has gone up, cost of goods sold have gone up, things are in flux. I'm not even going to argue whether costs of, things have gone up, but I am going to say that it is really common to have this like hand-wringing moment of like the way things are today. I've been hearing that for literally like since I started in this industry in my teens. There's always something for the way things are these days. So instead of thinking about the way things are, where they used to be, let's talk about what they are and what we can do about them in 2023. Because the old model of trying to, shove a size 8 foot into a pair of size 6 shoes doesn't work. And that's what it's like running in the hospitality industry right now, trying to do something that worked 5, 10, 20, 30 years ago. Doesn't make any sense. So you still have manufacturing overhead, which are the costs of running your business, regardless if you sell one peanut butter and jelly sandwich or you sell a bajillion peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, you still have manufacturing overhead, the rent, insurance, all those things that you have to pay no matter what. You still have cost of goods sold. You have to buy the bread, the peanut butter, and the jelly if you're going to sell peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And you still have labor, if nothing else, yourself. And your time is valuable. Your time is neither super, super valuable because you're the owner, and it's neither super, super cheap because you're the owner. Your time is what is to build that goods producing machine, which is good food, good jobs, good money. Your job, your business needs to pay you to build those things. So the old model was based upon cheap labor and cheap ingredients, commodity pricing. And commodity pricing is no longer part of what's acceptable in this industry. The industry has grown up, and there's a certain amount of like, people need to be able to put a roof over their head, right? And putting a roof over somebody's head is not as inexpensive as it used to be. So, proportionately. Oh. Very strange. So very sorry, you guys. I just had Zoom come in and say, hey, you have to go do this. Sorry about that little blip. I know I should stop and re-record it, but I'm not going to because I am on a roll, and you know what? Life happens and we learn to adjust. So no more am I going to ask that we change the business model, but what we're going to do is remember that the scaffolding remains the same. What I want to do is bring back the accounting process from 4 to 6 weeks out to bring it into today so that you can make financial decisions or you can make business decisions today that will impact where your business is going to be in 6 weeks, rather than looking at what happened today financially 4 to 6 weeks down the line when your accountant gets you some reports. Make sense? So you can do that by knowing, by building your financial model in a different way. What staff do you actually really need? And where are your variable costs, right? Or where are your variable staffing? On a Monday morning, you probably don't meet as many people as you do on a Saturday night. So let's build that out so it's reasonable and we can think about it, make some strategic. When I say reasonable, I mean reasoned, not whether I like it or your neighbor likes it, but is it a reasoned way of making sense? So you have that, you know what your staffing is, and then you can predict how many you need to sell and know what your break even is. That's the third one. And then the fourth one is to have value add, right? To diversify what you're selling. You're not just selling peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. You're also selling a peanut butter and jelly sandwich kit. You're selling soup to go. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up on the fly, right? But you have stuff like that to where you can diversify what you're selling because you can have a different cost of goods sold or different labor. You can vary what you're selling. And when you do that, you can increase your profit. If you can sell a jar of hot sauce or a peanut butter and jelly kit that was already made, there's no more labor added in it, and they're not taking up a table to get it. You can just hand them their peanut butter and jelly kit as they're walking out the door. I know that's a silly idea, but silly ideas are good for talking about ideas rather than concepts and getting straight down to it. So there's that. Knowing your true cost and then knowing your break even. If you know your break even on a monthly basis, then you can know what it is on a weekly basis, a daily basis, and an hourly basis. And then if you can see where you're off and where you're under, chances are you're always going to have some, like your off-peak hours are not going to hit your break even, but your peak hours are really going to hit your break even. Knowing where it is and how you want to adjust is going to empower you to adjust in ways that make a ton of sense. Without knowing those numbers, you don't have the power of knowledge that is going to help you with your business. The break-even calculation looks really complicated on paper, and it's a little bit goofy. It's not that hard, but it's really important to know. And I think a lot of people look at the formula and go, "Eeks, how does it happen?" Right? And your break-even is like fixed cost divided by contribution margin. You have to do a couple of calculations to get there, but you only have to really do it once. You can adjust it from time to time, but you only have to do that calculation once. If you don't know how to do it, please get in touch with me, right? I'm not hard to find. Deegan at Culinary Business Strategy or Culinary Business Strategy all over the entire internet. Find me and ask, and I will help you work on yours gratis, pro bono, because I want you to know what it is. I'd also love to work with you, but I want to empower you with the tools that you need. And a break even is something that's really important in knowing. So, and then also, like I said before, I want to remind you to go back and diversify what you're doing. It is completely normal to have a wine club, to have a dinner package, to have special nights. I know a restaurant that would normally not do this, but they are like selling hot dogs and movies on a Thursday night throughout the summer to bring everybody in. It's a first come, first served basis. That is genius. That's the kind of thing that we want to do. So what is it that is your unique selling proposition that your target market wants? And how can you expand their offerings, right? What they're taking home and paying for. Is everybody walking home with a peanut butter and jelly, or sorry, I have that example in my mind, with a chocolate chip cookie in order to, are they taking that home and increasing their ticket average or not? That is what I would like to share with you. So the new business model, throw out percentages as an idea of what the industry norm is. Know that your percentages are only relevant in relation to yourself. They are very important to know about the relationships of the numbers within your business, but they alone don't mean anything. We can't take them to the bank. It is how we get money to go to the bank, but we can't take them to the bank. Know your break even, know your true costs. And by knowing that, you can bring in your accounting equation that you typically wouldn't know about for 4 to 6 weeks, and you can bring it into today and this week so that you can make financial decisions based upon knowledge rather than gut feel. And you can make decisions so that your business can stay profitable and afloat. That's what I have to share with you today. Please share with me how you are changing your business model. I would love to hear, but above all, please change it for you so that you are not working really, really hard and barely making ends meet, and you're only frustrated and don't know why. Thanks so much. Take good care. Bye-bye.